Hey Sainers, welcome back to the Saints TV YouTube channel. Welcome to the free agency and trade period wrap video. We're going to be reviewing what St Kilda's been up to in the last 12 days, and it has been a lot. It's been a lot. We've been very active in terms of getting deals done, in terms of ditching deals, in terms of trying to keep players, and obviously in the newspapers and in the media, St Kilda has been probably talked about more than any other club in the competition, which is... It's not something we're used to, but this is something maybe we should get used to. So overall, just straight off the bat, I'm really stoked with what the football club has done. I think we've been really aggressive, really bold, really ruthless. And it seems that we did set out a strategy even over 12 months ago on getting some of these players and being prepared to even let go of certain players, which we'll talk about. But we executed that perfectly, and I don't think we come out of this weaker. I certainly think we come out of this stronger. Obviously, there are still question marks on how much of an improvement, but that is something that we will only know when they run out next season and play together for the first time. So right now, yes, we're stronger. We're going to be more competitive, and hopefully teams are not going to be enjoying playing St Kilda in 2026. So just to go through the free agency period, which we've talked about quite a bit, but I just want to cap it off here. Jack Silvani, we signed on, we swooped in. The Bulldogs and Collingwood were looking at him pretty strongly, and we swooped in, offered a bigger deal, and he took it, and he's now a Sainer, and that strengthens our defence. So that's a tick. Tom De Koning. This is obviously probably the more contentious one just because of how much money we've offered him. But again, free agent, didn't need to give up any draft collateral. And this was something that we were looking at 12 months ago. Ross has been an admirer of Tom for quite some time. He's talked about that in a couple of interviews that I've watched. And with the ruck rules changing and the bench going to 5 and no sub, I think this is going to be a game changer. I think he is going to be a game changer for St Kilda. And if you've watched as much TDK as I have in the last couple of seasons, particularly the last 12 months, to be honest, since I kind of was excited to get him. He's put in some pretty prolific games for Carlton, and he was top 6 in their BNF this season, despite them thinking he wasn't that good. So I think he's only going to get better. He's hitting his prime, and now complementing Rowan Marshall and having that combination next season is going to be really exciting to watch. So stoked to have Tom De Koning over the line. And then through to the trade period. The trade period was often running very quickly. We didn't mess around. We gave pick 7 for Sam Flanders, and that was it. Straight swap. Some people, again, think it's overs. I think it's exactly where it should be. I'm comfortable giving up pick 7 for someone like Sam Flanders. His best football is ahead of him. He complements our midfield. He can play off half back. He can play off half forward. And he just seems like a perfect fit for the type of team that we're building. And if it wasn't for a stacked Gold Coast midfield and maybe their pursuit of picks to get Petrarca, which they did in the end, maybe he'd be a Sun still. But, we benefit from the riches of the Gold Coast Suns midfield. Liam Ryan. We got Liam Ryan and a 3rd round pick in 2027 from the West Coast Eagles. We gave them 2026 2nd round pick. We get Liam Ryan, 20 years old, obviously premiership player for the Eagles. He is very exciting to watch in the forward line. Not a high possession getter, but he is a lot of X factor. And I think with Jack Higgins, Collard, Dan Butler, these sort of players around him, I think he's going to be really important. Obviously, his experience is... He's greater than those guys. He'll be the most experienced small in our team. But I think where he separates himself is his aerial prowess. He can take a screamer. He's got great jukes. He can roam into the midfield and up the ground, uses the ball exceptionally well. I mean, obviously, he has an nous for kicking the miraculous goal. So absolutely stoked to get him over the line. And he didn't cost us really that much. So that one was an easy one for me. He makes us better. Doesn't cost that much. And that's it. It supports Higgins, who I think had to carry that position on his own. And then obviously the big one that didn't get done, we'll talk about that as well. Leek Aleer, I think the Giants wanted a future second. We were looking at a third. Didn't go through, and we got a lot of backlash. We got a lot of hate, a lot of other opposition supporters thinking, why would clubs deal with St Kilda now when they've courted a guy for 2 years and they ditch him? But I think once the dust settles and St Kilda, even Carl Delina this morning talked about it a little bit, you can understand maybe why we did it. I don't think it was necessarily to do with Jack Silvani. Maybe a little bit, but I think primarily from what Carl Delina mentioned on the wrap this morning, on the trade radio wrap that they did, he said the goalposts change. And when goalposts change, you need to pivot. And that to me says that maybe something down the line, maybe something this time next season we'll be talking about and thinking, okay, that's why they didn't do it. That's why they didn't want to spend that cash. Not because we were strapped for cash, but maybe because we wanted to save cash. It could be something like that, So I don't think that's going to be one we're going to lose sleep over next season, to be honest. I think our backline looks really strong. Dougal Howard returns. We've got Caminiti, Taru, Silvani, Wilkie. I think we're pretty stacked in that department, to be honest. That's our strength is our backline. So Delina mentioned that we gave Aleer and his agent 6-7 days to sort themselves out. We didn't want to leave it until the last second because that doesn't leave enough time for Leek Aleer to find a new club potentially. But also, St Kilda knew that pulling out, they knew that Giants had a deal in front of Aleer to sign anyway. So either way, he was playing AFL football, and either way, he was going to be paid pretty good money. Obviously, less than what St Kilda is offering, but still good money, and he can fork out his own AFL career and go from there. So I think overall, sensational in terms of that business. And then in terms of the outgoing, Max Heath, obviously, that was talked about. We knew that was going to happen. Demons, that was something that was flagged like 2 months ago with Max Gorn, a bit of support there, and he goes to play with or train with. I don't know. Tom Campbell's going to get a game, but he gets to train with Tom Campbell again, who he would have at St Kilda, and might get a few games next season, depending on if they want to help support Max Gorn. And I think we got a future 4th round pick for him. So really, we gave him away for nothing essentially. But our ruck depth with keeping Rowe, and that was kind of a sign that I think we were really committed to keeping Rowe. We got rid of Heath, and we maintained Rowe, which we'll talk about shortly, and then we get Tom De Koning, Keeler, Dodson as well. So we've got some pretty good depth in that ruck department now. And then the big one, Jack Steele, again to Melbourne. Melbourne seem to love St Kilda players at the moment. He went for a 2027 3rd round pick. So that's our captain, or was our captain. Some people really upset about it, think that we dogged him, that we pushed him out. I'm pretty confident that if it wasn't for Steele's blessing, it wouldn't have got done and he would have stayed a Saint. But I think he had the choice of potentially fighting for his spot, but maybe St Kilda couldn't guarantee a spot next season with the depth we've got in midfield now and where we want to go with the team. And, when I think about it, I'd rather see Steele blossom in another team like Melbourne, who need that leadership and that sort of culture fit that he can bring, than him waste his career away at VFL level, or he never retains his form, and maybe fans turn on him. I think this is good for both parties. I think obviously his salary probably would have come into it. He was still on very good money, so that would have come into it. But at the same time, it was a fit for Melbourne. I know that we were posing a deal with Essendon to get Cam Mackenzie through Hawthorn and help them with merit, and that fell through because Steele didn't want to go to Essendon. Yeah, so he was happy to go to Melbourne, and I just think we couldn't have pushed him out. He was contracted, and we did what was best for him, but also what was best for us. I think it was a win-win, and I think when you can try and fill the grey area and try and make up a story, but at the end of the day, I think this was probably the right choice. And as hard as it is, and as hard as it is to take down my steel portrait that I had there before, I think it's the right call, and our midfield is going in a different direction. And I think hopefully he plays well at Melbourne, and our midfield kicks on, like I said in my video earlier today. So that was sad, and but not really a shock, if that makes sense. And then obviously it came down to the deadline, literally the last couple of minutes of the trade period, which we knew was going to happen. And it was Andrew Mackie chatting to the Saints. Ross Lyon turned up late. Obviously Gubby Allen in the house and Stephen Silvani. And we all were panicking on the live stream whether Rowan Marshall would be traded to Geelong. St Kilda was pretty firm the whole way through. The first offer was on day one of the trade period. Pick 19. We rejected it. We didn't see another offer from Geelong until the last day, and Geelong thought we would blink. Geelong thought, Andrew Mackie thought he would bring it up in the last 2 minutes and St Kilda would panic and accept the deal and they would get their man, and they thought they'd bully us into it, to be quite frank. But we didn't buckle. We stood firm. We said no thank you, and we walked away with our ruckman, who can now partner with Tom de Koning. Look, some people are going to say, well, you don't want players that don't want to play for the club, but I don't think we would have done this if we didn't think it would work. And clearly Ross, even in his post-trade period presser, said this was something 3 years in the making. We have a plan for what these two can do together as rucks and forwards, and now we get to see it in action. And we don't strengthen Geelong. We don't strengthen a direct competitor. And I love that. A lot of our direct competitors, when you think about it, didn't strengthen as much as we did in this trade period. Even when I think about the bottom 8 and the bottom 9 teams, where we want to climb out of that area, but we need to beat those teams to do it. The only team that strengthened a little bit, I wouldn't say more than us, but at least they did, was Sydney with Curnow. And they gave away a couple of players to do it, but they got a forward, which they've been desperate for. And we strengthened defense, midfield, forward line, and the ruck department, all in one foul swoop. And we didn't lose. I mean, we lost Steele, which is sad, but we didn't lose anyone of note other than Jack Steele. No disrespect to Max Heath, but I mean, starting 23 next season. We have retained Naz, we've retained Windy, Wilkie, we've kept Marshall. I think we come out of this in a sensational position. In Tom de Koning, Silvani, Flanders, Ryan, 2027 third round pick tied to Melbourne, 2027 third round pick tied to West Coast, 2027 fourth round pick tied to Melbourne. Out. Jack Steele, Max Heath, pick 7, and a 2026 second. That is all we've spent. That is the beauty of our strategy of targeting free agents as well as going through the trade period. That, to me, isn't... And I think the AFL and Fox Sports did a rating for every club. We got an A. I think we are the big winners out of this. We kept a player that we wanted to keep, and we signed everyone that we wanted to sign. And we did it early. A lot of other clubs were trying to get deals over the line at the last minute. I love that we came out, no bullshit, got it done. We could have haggled over Flanders for pick 7 and a future second coming back our way or something. And I know some Saints thought maybe we should have, but we did it quick. We got out of the way, and then we focused on Rowan Marshall and retaining him and what we could do and maneuver with other players and other picks. And I think that's a job well done by Gubby, by Sauce, and by Ross. And this primes us for 2026. I cannot wait to see what team runs out in round 1 or opening round next season for this footy club. It's, I saw someone in my WhatsApp group before mentioned from 2019 to now, there's only 5 remaining players. Only 5. I wonder if you can guess who they are. One of them is Rowan Marshall, believe it or not. The other one is Jack Sinclair, Cal Wilkie, Max King, and there's one more, Hunter Clark. 5 players from 2019. That wasn't that long ago. We have cleaned house at this point. So this is a new St Kilda. I think we're ready to go. I think we're ready to rumble. And this trade period and free agency period, we've done very well. So I'd love to hear your thoughts, Sainers. Put it in the comments below. What would you give this out of 10? I said it on the live stream yesterday to Ari and Woody. They were kind of around the 8, 7.5. My personal opinion, I think this is an 8.5 out of 10. I hate losing Steele, but I think that's just a business decision. That's just the direction we're going in. And he gets to a club where he'll play every single week. So I think it bodes well for him, hopefully, and it bodes well for us. But 8.5, 9 out of 10. I think it was almost perfect. Obviously, we knew we were going to cop a little bit of media backlash pulling out of the Aleer deal, but we're prepared for that. And I think we've got a backbone now that we can do these things and come out of it pretty okay. So that's my trade and free agency wrap. Sainers, thank you very much for tuning in. There'll be more videos very soon. Obviously, we will be doing a predicted 23 video. There'll be me and a bunch of other Sainers that will get on board that one. And even a VFL predicted 23. I think our VFL team is going to look pretty strong next season. So that'll be interesting as well. So thanks very much, Sainers. Please subscribe. Please like the video. And I'll see you very soon. Take care. And as always, go you mighty Sainers. See you guys.